Saying that parenting is undemanding, trouble-free, and tranquil would be a world-class understatement. Children are strong-willed and always want to be in control. They have the capacity to make you lose your temper. And all you want to do is to hit, flog, spank, or yell at them. All these are a way to punish them for their action. However, what parents don't realize is that physical punishment is not an effective tool for correction. It only gives you immediate compliance. On a longer term, the behavior will pretty much remain. Physical punishment like spanking, hitting, flogging, and yelling result in children having anxiety disorder, depression, trauma, antisocial behavior, narcissism, and other mental health issues as adults. Harvard research found that the degree of children who were spanked were the same result with children who had more severe forms of violence. So it tells you that there is no difference at all. A number of adults will say, my parents did it to me, I didn't die, so I will also do it to my children. The reason you are doing it to your children is because your parents did it to you and you have become like them. The fact is, you're doing it to your children because it was done to you. Hurting people hurt others. That you were raised that way doesn't mean that it was the right training. I acknowledge that your parents may not have been knowledgeable enough. Now that you are hearing this message, kindly take note. One great thing you can decide to do for yourself is to heal from the raising of your parents. The reason is you are behaving just the way they did because you have been raised that way. To you, it may seem right, but this causes a lot of traumatic experience and will predispose your children to dangers. A number of parents today are struggling with self-esteem, relationships because of how they were raised. That brings me to 7 things you mustn't do to your child. If you do them, you will likely raising a narcissist. Number 1, shouting and hitting your child when their performance in school or at home is below expectation. When you constantly remind your child of their failures, comparing them with others, aggressively break into their cheerful moments to punish them or make them feel bad, you are indirectly building a sadist or a narcissist. Narcissism is a personality disorder. It is a mental health condition in which an individual have an uncontrollable high sense of importance. This group of individuals always seek and need too much attention. They want people to always admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care for other people's feelings. They are highly selfish people. All they think about is themselves. They resent happy people, seeing them as unserious because that's how they were raised when they were children. They never had the opportunity to be genuinely happy. Therefore, they punish other people for being happy by being mean to them and reminding them of their failures or what they have not done. People with this disorder feel depressed, sad, rejected, and sometimes isolate themselves when they are told no. Depriving children of care, love, attention, sometimes food, or stopping them from happiness because of their inappropriate behavior might motivate them. But what parents don't realize is that you are motivating that child negatively. This continuous abuse by parents makes children to grow up and begin to repeat these cycles. Funnily enough, they can even become worse to their partners, children, and relationships. They become leaders who never understand or feel the pain of their subjects, making them lonely and wicked people. It may cost them their relationships, making them to live with people who will always have to say yes to them. People who choose to live with them are also traumatized people. These people are called enablers. They do not also know their self-worth. These people do not have ability to say no to these narcissists. The narcissists continue to abuse them because they have no ability to say no. They don't see themselves as valuable or worthy enough. All these aforementioned circumstances can also happen to children whose parents are not well to do. It has been found out that children whose parents are not well to do end up become motivated negatively. These children might become successful in life, however, they have been motivated negatively through suffering, pains, rejection, lack of care. And so they have developed into that same personality, whereby they will also do the same to others. This type of people resent happy people, confident people, and cheerful people because all their life they lacked care, love, and never had the support of people. This makes them to become a narcissist and they begin to repeat this circle to everyone around them, especially to people who live in the same house with them. What should you do instead? Discipline children and not punish them. Whilst punishment makes the child to suffer for breaking rules or disobeying you, discipline teaches the child a lesson and helps the child to make a better choice next time. How do you discipline a child? For instance, when a child spills water on the floor, tell the child to clean it up. No matter how the child is going to do it, allow the child do it. Whilst they are doing it, they will begin to think and try to avoid what will make them spill water next time. That way, they have learnt their lesson rather than flogging, shouting, and hitting them. If your child is not doing well in school, make them to read more than the usual time. You can give them a home teacher. This way, they will try not to fail next time because you have encroached into their playing time. When a child refuses to do their home chores, homework, or any kind of task, delay them also when it comes to things they enjoy. For instance, if they like playing game, playing with their bricks, Lego, whatever they like doing, delay them as well. So next time they will learn to do their work in time. All this will teach the child a lesson, with the child being motivated positively. Avoid flogging, hitting, and yelling. Number two, stop shutting your child down. Shutting your child down when they report or ask you questions that you are not comfortable with is you indirectly telling them to find out themselves. The truth is, whether you respond or not, they will definitely find an answer. They might end up accessing the wrong information. That might eventually lead them to misdeed, bad conduct, offense, crime, unlawful act. Another thing it does is that it devalues you as a parent. Psychologists have found that children who usually get shut down by their parents avoid talking about real problems affecting them as children and adults. They have issues of low self-esteem because they were never given opportunity to air their views. These actions also result in antisocial and selfish behavior whereby they begin to resent outspoken and happy people. And they mostly become opinionated. They often get angry, sad, They feel rejected when their opinion is not taken as adults. What should you do as a parent instead? Teach your child to be open and honest. Teach them to talk about situations even when it's unfair and uncomfortable for you to hear as adults. Be patient when the story doesn't seem like a big deal in your eyes. To them, it matters a lot. Imagine you as an adult complaining about a situation that is serious to you and people around you are trivializing it. How would you feel? It might not make sense to them, but to you, it matters a lot. So give your children all ears when they are trying to say something that might be uncomfortable for you. These will help them build their self esteem and worth. They will feel valuable and will be healthy individuals as adults. They will also be able to discern individuals who are not healthy and avoid them as adults. Number three, stop spanking, hitting, or yelling at your child when they express negative emotions. Sometimes it can be very annoying to see a child cry, throw tantrum, get angry, or express distress negatively. Most often, parents respond by hitting, pushing, and shouting, "Stop crying!" Unfortunately, this response traumatizes children by them believing these three things. Number one, they will end up believing that emotions are something inappropriate, shameful, and something to be hidden. This way, kids learn to bottle up all their negative emotions. Children who have bottled their negative emotions from childhood, as adults, begin to have anger issues, identity crisis. Number two, they will have the belief that their feelings are not as important as yours or the one of others. So they devalue themselves. Number three, they also believe that they are the ones to blame, not who or what is hurting them. What should you do instead? Encourage them to express their emotions in a more positive and constructive way rather than expressing it in a destructive and negative way. Bearing in mind that they are only children and need to be taught how to express their emotions right. Also, as a parent, your children are learning a lot from you, especially when you begin to express your negative emotions. So, do well to always respond right, because whatever you do is what they are going to be doing thereafter. As the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. Be calm and do not yell or beat them for expressing their emotions negatively. Teach them the right way to express their feelings. Sometimes they might not listen to you. What you have to do is to ignore them rather than aggressively responding. If they know that their reaction doesn't get to you, they will stop behaving in that manner. That brings me to number four. A lot of parents are guilty of this. Stop forcing your children to be nice to everyone. Does that ring a bell? Forcing your children to be nice to everyone devalues them and make them a people pleaser. When you as a parent want everyone to like your child, you begin to enforce the message of be nice to everyone. In turn, they begin to think that everyone is more important than them, and so they begin to do everything to please everyone around them. This action allows your child to be taken advantage of by their peers in school or wherever they find themselves. It also leads to exploitation. These children grow up to lack self esteem. They also lack confidence and can hardly make decisions on their own because all they want to do is to please people around them. What should you do instead? Teach your child to be respectful yet confident. Teach them not to sacrifice their interests for others. Encourage them not to accept someone forcing them to do what they don't want to do. Even if the person says, I do not want to be your friend anymore, tell them to take their stand. Teach them to say no, even when the situation is difficult. As parents, avoid getting angry when your children say no to you. If your children cannot say no to you, you are raising puppets and not people who can think for themselves. Be happy when they are able to say no. You can only influence their decisions by telling them why they need to do what they need to do. For instance, if you're telling your child to brush their teeth and they are saying no, you should tell them the benefit of brushing their teeth and the disadvantage of not brushing their teeth. Sometimes I go all the way to call other people to tell them as well. This way, they will be influenced and they will get to understand why you are telling them to do what you want them to do. Instead of forcing and shouting, you are indirectly raising a puppet and a people pleaser when they grow into adults. If your child says no to sharing their toys, allow them be. You can only influence that decision by teaching them to care for others, but do not force them to share their toys. This way, you are building the child for adulthood to be able to say no to situations they don't like. Number 5, stop buying materialistic things as reward. Buying too much materialistic things for children will make them materialistic as adults. It will result in them wanting the latest things even when they don't need it. What should you do instead? Instead of buying material things as reward for their appropriate behavior or a win, reward them by giving them more time to do things that they enjoy doing. For example, if your child likes playing games and you always give that child an hour to play a game, increase the time to 1 hour 30 minutes or 2 hours as a reward. This happens as a reward, not every time. That way, you encourage the child to learn that if they are able to do things right, they will have more time and access to enjoy what they like doing. However, when you always buy them things or give them money as reward, they will always want to get things even when they don't need them. You see a lot of adults today always wanting to have the latest things even when they don't need them for anything. This way, you are teaching your child how to be financially prudent. Note, you can also buy your children material things as gifts, especially in their birthday, or you can decide to just gift them, but not as a reward. This way, they will see themselves valuable and that you cherish them, and that's why you bought them things even when they didn't earn it. And also learn the art of gifting people as well, even when they don't deserve it. You are not gifting them because of what they did. You are gifting them because you love them, just like God does to us. God gave us opportunity to live, to breathe without us doing anything. He even sent his son to die for us without us doing anything. So this way, they learn to love unconditionally. When you want to buy them things, do well to buy things that they need, not things that they do not need. This way, they learn to be financially intelligent and also apply it as adults. These adults grow up to be financially prudent, buying things that they will need and not the latest things. Number 6, do not discipline without rules in place. A number of parents discipline children without setting rules. Before you discipline a child, make sure the child understands the family values and rules. You can have a family time to state these values and rules guiding the family. Make sure you do it together with your children, no matter how young or old they are. This way, they become responsible for their action, knowing that they were there when these rules were made. This way, when you discipline them for breaking a rule, they will not feel unfairly treated because they already know the consequence. However, before disciplining a child, take time to assess the situation. I'll tell you a story that happened to one of my daughters. I am a mother of three. In my daughter's school, they have a particular place they keep their water bottles. It is quite high. So one day she was trying to pick her water bottle when she accidentally hit someone else's water bottle and the water bottle got broken. So the teacher asked her, "Did you do it on purpose or was it a mistake?" And she said, "I did it on purpose," not understanding what on purpose mean, knowing that she was only 4 years old. And so the teacher told me, in my mind, I was unhappy. I was thinking, how do I discipline this child? But then I was still asking the Holy Spirit to help me. When I got home, I simply asked her, "What happened?" And she said she was trying to get her water bottle when she mistakenly hit someone else's water bottle. And I told her, "Your teacher said you did it on purpose." And she asked me, "What does on purpose mean?" And I told her the meaning. And in her childish voice, she said, "No, accidentally, accidentally." Imagine if I have reacted and not responded to that situation, I would have disciplined her for not doing anything at all. My husband had to go back the next day to tell them the real situation and ask them to watch it on the CCTV camera, and they apologized for it. Imagine if I had disciplined her without finding out the real situation. Take time to listen to your child. Be patient because discipline is not an emergency. You can take 2 days, a week, a day to find out the best course of action rather than responding immediately. When you respond immediately, there is a high percentage that you will always make the wrong decision. Take time. Discipline is not an emergency. Number 7 and the last one. Let the drums roll. Number 7 is quite interesting. Don't always make decisions for your child. As a parent, you have to pay attention to these 3 things when making decisions for your child. Number 1, know when to give direction. In giving direction, there are some things that your child needs to observe. Things like brushing their teeth, doing their homework, doing their chores, going to school. These are important things that they can't say no to. So you influence them to do these things. There are things that your child must do to be a responsible adult. These things are things that they do not have choice for. However, influence them by telling them why they need to do it and make sure they carry it out. Number 2, know when to make a statement. There are times you seek opinions from your children. Ask them a question and hear from them. You can take their opinion as children. This way they feel valuable. Do not always take all the decisions in the family. It makes them feel unworthy and unvaluable. Number 3, know when to allow them make a choice when it comes to things like clothing, shoes, hairstyle, food, and other things that are not so important for life. Allow them make a choice. Do not force your child to eat food that they don't like. You can only influence them to eat. If that's the only food you have at that time, tell them is the only available food. If they say no, allow them be. Do not force a child to wear a particular thing they don't want to. As a parent, you can show them 2, 3, 4, and ask them to pick from it. Allow them make a choice. This way, you are building the ability to make decisions for their life. Do not always be the one making choices for them. A number of children can't wait to grow up and leave their parents because their parent is always on their neck. Their parents do not give them breathing space. Allow your children make decisions, especially when these decisions are not harmful for their life. This way, they will become confident and will be able to make decisions as adults. When you always make decisions for your children, they will not be able to take decisions on their own. Children who are able to take decisions grow up to become independent and will be able to fulfill their plans and goals for life. In raising a healthy and responsible child, you need to pay attention to all these 7 points. Your child will thank you you did. I trust that you got value. Like, comment, tell me something that you have made up your mind not to do anymore in the comment section. Share to your loved ones. Do well to subscribe to our exquisite channel, as subscription is absolutely free. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.